All right. So, have I got this right? Are you saying George Washington was George the Third, the English King George the Third?
That's not what I'm saying, but it's kind. I'm just pointing it out. There's like a lot of
similarities.
So this is like George Washington.
But that seems to be what it'd be leading to, wouldn't it?
Yeah, kind of. But it's like, I don't want to say that because that sounds mental.
Well, I don't mind.
I've just noticed the
similarities.
The similarities. So this is George III. So
right.
The American Revolution, you had George III, King of England, on one side.
Yeah.
Then you had like George Washington, the head of, the first president
of America.
Yeah, the leader of the revolt.
Right.
So like that in itself is kind of interesting. They're both called George, but it's just a coincidence, right?
I mean, coincidences, yeah.
But there's a few more things. First up, they both had red hair, but they powdered it white.
Right.
Which again,
George Washington, you always see him as white hair, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, but it was kind of fashionable back then to kind of,
so that
was kind of de rigueur for these guys.
Okay.
But it's still like they both had red hair, both called George.
So we've got two similarities so far.
Both leaders. The opposite sides in this big
nation.
Huge.
Two nations.
One of the biggest things of all time. Then on top of that, they're both famous for being farmers.
Right.
Like, so like George III was known as the Farmer George.
Really?
Yeah, because he loved being on his farm. He was interested in
I never think of the king being a farmer, but
it's kind of weird, isn't it? But
yeah, because you just think they've got so many like territories. It's just all theirs, isn't it? And wherever they want to go. But yeah, it's interesting. I suppose, yeah. I mean, farmland.
He was interested in like farming innovation and all that, and as was George Washington. He's famous as being a farmer.
Right.
Like if you go on his Wikipedia, it'll be like farmer, soldier, president kind of thing. And like this is like a famous quote from George Washington: "I'd rather be on my farm than be emperor of the world."
Right.
So it's basically like they're both associated with being farmers.
Yeah.
And on top of that, the word George, that's said to mean earth worker or farmer.
George.
So the very name means farmer.
It's like geo as well, isn't it?
Geo. That's where geo comes from, like geography, like geodesy.
I was thinking of George and the Dragon for some reason.
Yeah, maybe that could kind of tie in some strange way.
Yeah.
But yeah, both farmers.
It could be like the same guy, like.
Well, it's just a weird. Like I don't want to say that because I don't have any evidence to say that. I'm just pointing out it's like
you have a feeling it's a possibility.
I just think it's just the same thing. It's just I can't believe people haven't noticed it before. But yeah, both farmers, both famous for like advocating farming innovations. Like this little quote from an article about George Washington and his like advocacy of farming innovations.
Yeah.
It kind of links it together. So you've got like the surviving diaries of George Washington. Began in 1760, a year sometimes used to denote the beginning of a new agriculture in England.
Right.
So that's when kind of the new agriculture was supposedly started in England. So it's the same thing on both sides.
It is odd, isn't it?
Both by a George, both by someone known as a farmer.
Yeah.
Then on top of that, you've got, because it mentions George III as well. You also have like the White House. So like obviously you've got the famous American White House.
Yeah.
Like George Washington didn't occupy that. It was John Adams like after him, but it was getting built during
George Washington
during his like presidency.
Yeah.
And like he also lived on a plantation where there was a place called the White House. So he's like
that was the plantation was the White House.
No, that was a different one.
No, sorry. What I'm trying to say is not the White House that we all know. There was a different White House, and that was a plantation.
Well, there's three, but like there's two associated with George Washington.
Okay.
Like the main White House, the one we all know.
Yes.
That was like built.
Yeah, for the
in
presidents.
Washington.
Yeah, the whole.
For the presidents.
Yeah.
Then there was one he lived on a plantation.
And that was called the White House.
That was called the White House too.
That's right.
But there's also a third White House that people generally don't know about, where George III lived in England.
Really?
Do you know like Kew Gardens?
And that would be the original White House, would it?
Well, yeah. I mean, they don't really link the two. No one says that.
No one says it.
Weird, isn't it?
But the English George lived in the White House.
He lived in the White House.
And then the American George lived in the White House.
So, like, this is the...
as well as all the other things.
This is like the English White House.
Right.
Like a picture of it, supposedly.
Okay. I mean, it's interesting because I mean they've got to take that name from somewhere. You're not just going to call it a White House for nothing. I mean, it The American one is white, but I mean, it seems a bit. You'd think they'd have something else included, like as a reference.
I can't get back now. But yeah, the White House was at like Kew Gardens.
Oh yeah.
But it got knocked down.
Right. Right. Yeah.
But like George Fed was actually kind of imprisoned there because he was the Mad King. So,
yeah, the Mad King. Yeah, that's
put him in like a straitjacket.
Right.
He used like blister therapy on him where to bend his skin.
Right.
It kind of sounds really nasty,
awful.
doesn't it? So it's like he's depicted as a tyrant, but
because there's a film, isn't there? There's a 90s film. I've never seen it.
Yeah, I mean,
it did well. The guy got Best Actor. It's like the Oscar pushing it. I don't know.
But yeah, that White House got knocked down,
right.
and now there's a sundial, and it also ties in with all
that's
all the
interesting.
space stuff.
Sun God.
Like, because not God. I mean like the astronomy. Like, do you know how people talk about Aries failure and stuff like that?
Aries
failure, like the light, like kind of like the aberration of light.
Okay.
This all goes back to this period. Like I think Uranus was originally named after George III.
Right.
But it didn't catch on for whatever reason. So now there's a sundial there where the White House was.
Yeah.
Near like Kew Palace now. But yeah, this got knocked down. The English White House got knocked down, I think, in where are we? 1802. It started being demolished.
Hmm.
And like the American White House finished being built in 1800.
Right.
So that one was being built as like the English one was kind of
like,
being knocked down kind of thing. That's kind of weird, isn't it?
Keeping the same.
Like, I don't know if they are linked. It's just odd. It's like no one.
It does. There seems like it could be.
You've got like two Georges on both sides of the biggest kind of. Yeah, the biggest thing of all time, really, the American Revolution.
Right.
Like huge.
Well, it's
two Georges, both farmers, both red hairs.
It's kind of passing the baton, isn't it? In a way.
Both in a White House. It's kind of weird, isn't it?
It is weird.
It's like a mad thing.
What I think of is like sun gods.
like you always think like.
I think because I don't believe in Napoleon. I think Napoleon was a sun god, and I think it's like Alexander the Great was. And I think what if I don't know?
But it's weird, doesn't it? It's like
yeah.
It's just an odd thing. It's like I don't know what to make of it. I only noticed I noticed the White House thing a while ago. Then someone mentioned the red hair thing to me.
Like the Mad King it's.
Well, I mean, again, that's weird, isn't it?
It's a weird thing in itself. It
seems kind of bad, doesn't it?
It seems like a story, like just a great.
But yeah, he was like imprisoned in the White House, so he was kind of pretty much that was like his prison,
like a fairy tale,
like to say,
like a nasty fairy tale.
The English one was knocked down. One of the reasons to think is because, like he had bad memories of being imprisoned there, so they knocked it down. But they don't really know why. Right. That's if it was even there.
I know it's
because they could. I mean, you don't really know. There's just a sundial there now. It's the same with like Nonsuch Palace.
And the sundial, that's
like Nonsuch Palace where Henry VIII lived. No trace of it now. No trace remains. It was called Nonsuch. Maybe, maybe because like no such place existed.
I just think of Jerusalem where they said supposedly like Christ's like birth or death was, and there's just a big sun on the floor, and you think there you go, mate. It's just the sun. I don't know. I think the sun worship is so deep. I don't know, it's odd. But yeah, the links with the George and all them other ones with the White House.
Yeah, it's
like
weird,
the White House.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I know the sun's represented with a white horse, but I don't know if the White House does. The White House represent something else? I don't know.
Like, I have no idea, but it's like I've never heard anyone point out these.
You're right.
It's weird, isn't it? It's like they're both called George.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that in itself is kind of. I mean, obviously. Quite easily could be a coincidence.
Yeah, I mean, people are called.
That's when you're like.
Put them
I mean, they were both born
things.
in like the 1730s as well, so they're kind of a similar age as well.
Right.
So it's kind of weird, isn't it? It's like one of them weird things. I mean, it's not that long ago though, is it? Like 240
I guess not.
years
I mean,
ago.
it's only
so it's not. It's not even that long ago, so it's not like we're looking at ancient history.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, like any final thoughts on that one?
That's all. I mean, it's just. That's all I'm thinking. I just think of it as like, it's a story.
And George Washington, he had no like kids, so there's no like direct heirs of George Washington.
He seems like a superhero to me. He seems like the kind of like.
Yeah, it does seem like that a bit, doesn't it?
I think so.
Like that's his
like
mother, supposedly, and like that's.
Because like a story can build a man better than anything really, and then it's I don't know.
But yeah, it's I mean, in both things, it's like you have like a powerful person called George who'd rather be a farmer than be emperor.
Like
whether it's like the king or the president who wanted to be like dictator or whatever.
It's like I don't know, like the man of nature, like Robin Hood, Green Man.
Yeah, 10 minutes. That's quite long. Shall I?
Have we been talking for 10 minutes?
Yeah, shut it down now.
Okay,
That's all right.
No, I'll do.
Just like boring people, but it's fine.
Oh, well, okay.